So I'm super, super stoked. Oh, I'm gonna turn this off. To be heading into the mountains finally. You can't see them now, they're that way. But that's the direction I'm gonna be going. So I'm getting going much, much later than I ever intended today. It's already 11 o'clock here in Colorado, I think. 10 or 11. I'm not sure which. So I'm not gonna make the distance that I was hoping today, but I'm gonna make sure I enjoy the hell out of this ride. I'll be in the mountains, as you can see here.
I'm sitting here editing and realizing a good few years late just how badly I cocked up syncing cameras on this particular day. I promise I'd show you what I was pointing at here if I'd been bothered to record it. I'll explain later, but on that note, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am so excited to have you here for day 4 of the 2018 solo cross-continent road trip series on the Pirate Ragnar Motovlog channel. This episode is set entirely in colorful Colorado, and what an epic day it was. All of the road narration comes early today, so we'll get right into that here, and I'll catch up with you all later on during the interlude.
Alright. Day 4. I've been really slow moving today. Really taking my time and planning things out because I know I won't have data connection much at all in the mountains. So I'm driving into the mountains today, and then I should be getting into Sedona tomorrow evening. About 16 hours away, so it's at least 8-hour drive each day, but it won't be like what it was. It shouldn't hopefully be like what it was the first couple of days, so that's that. I'm just waiting for the damn computer to copy an extra copy of all the footage that I've made so far, so I don't end up losing everything. And I'm packing the bike now, and once that's done, I'll be ready to go. See you guys on the road.
Here we go. Where am I going here? I think I'm supposed to go this way. So the bike is handling better now. It seemed like, my guess is, because I'm not losing oil like I was before, not in the same degree. I didn't have to touch up the oil this morning or anything. So it seems like maybe it was the 10W30 that was in there to begin with, because it was just way too fucking hot. And as I slowly swapped it all out, because it would burn off and leak, I replaced it all with 10W40. And I don't seem to be losing the same kind of volume as I was before. So hopefully that's semi-resolved there. I'll still do an oil change, obviously, as soon as I get to Sedona, or shortly thereafter. That's my goal. New filter, all new oil, the works. So that's that. Chain was hella loose yesterday, or at the end of the day yesterday. Wow. Makes me wonder how much I'm gonna get out of this chain. I don't know if I'm harder on chains than other people, or if this bike is harder on chains than other people. Other people, Jesus. Or if this bike is harder on chains than maybe other bikes. But yeah, I may need to change the chain at some point too, which is a little concerning. It's not something that I had planned. I did bring all the tools that I would need to do it, so it's not like I didn't plan for it being an eventuality. I really hoped that I wouldn't need to, but we'll see. Perhaps now that I'm going up, it might have just been that I was pushing it so hard those days. Yesterday in particular, the fucking hailstorm was just brutal. That was terribly unsafe conditions. So if I kept going at speed, the hail would have, I don't know, but I always imagined it would have had the potential for bursting through my visor, or at the very least, like seriously bruising, like damaging a knuckle or something like that, because they were big fuckers. And that was the worst weather I've had yet. I've had just gorgeous weather until now. Then, yesterday. But it was bound to happen. And I just said that yesterday. I don't really believe in superstition in any kind of way, but I do find it funny when things line up like that. Because, yeah, I just find it funny. I'm going to drive up into the mountains. I'm so excited. The reason it's my favorite kind of driving is it hurts your ass the least. You move around a lot, which you guys might notice I do on the road anyway, just to kind of like keep things moving and not feel all sorts of fucked in the ass area, in the hips. Yeah. Alright, here we go. Nice open road. Alright, to be honest guys, I want to listen to some tunes, so once I actually start getting into the mountains, I'll try and do another narrated video segment.
Stoked is an understatement about how excited I was to get to day 4. To this day, some of the most vivid memories of the trip are some of the footage that I'll show you today. So you can imagine how gutted I was when I went to review the footage for this day and realized I fell out of sync with turning the handlebar and chin cameras on during the first half of the day. Essentially, when I turn on one, I proceed to turn off the other, and vice versa, until after a stop early afternoon. I also have this nagging issue in these series with chronology. I refuse to break it. When you watch the content of these road trip videos, I really want you to get an idea of what it's like, and part of that, to me, is keeping content chronological. As a filmmaker, it's counterintuitive, because I do want to cut and crop shots that fit best and tell the story, but I've limited myself on that vein for the sake of realism. If anyone watching this thinks that I'm nuts, and that's not nearly as important as I seem to think it is, then feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear from you. But with that in mind, I will give you a second dose of road ramblings before my 2020 self takes over for the remainder of the day.
So, this is what I love about mountain roads, man. It's like every corner you go around, it opens up something new. You're never actually sure what's going to be around the corner. Or when you're in those big, long, empty expanses, it's not as exhilarating, I think, you know? That's what my gut says anyway. So, this is me in my element right here, man. Man, these mountains are phenomenal. So many trees. That's what I was pointing out in a little clip earlier when I wasn't recording audio about just I'm starting to actually understand the colorful Colorado thing. Another beautiful part about going through the mountains is you're shifting gears a lot more often. Now maybe on other bikes you would get away with doing it less often, but this 6-speed gearbox on these old CB450 SCs, whew, I love that thing. Now mine's starting to act up. It keeps shifting on me. Arbitrarily, it seems. And Cam is saying that that's probably just worn out shifting forks. But it's something that I will be able to inspect this winter when I pull her all apart. But other than that, the 6-speed gearbox on this thing is fantastic. And in the mountains like this, you end up shifting quite a bit, kind of in the corners and things like that. It's just fun. Something you don't get to do a whole lot when you're on those kind of longer, open, straight stretches. I actually don't know what kind of distance I'm going to make today. It may be unrealistic that I make it to Sedona tomorrow. Unless I do skip Utah, which it actually seems like I'm going to. I was going too far out of the way to get to Utah. I had it in my head a little bit different than it actually is. I travel next to a river here the entire time, so what it means is that you never really get overheated, because there's always like a cool kind of softness to the air. Even if the sun is shining, and it is shining right down on me right now, I do not feel hot like I have the last couple of days. Not by a long shot. This is like perfect air conditioning weather right here on a bike.
Don't worry, we will get into plenty of days on this trip where things generally did not go my way. That's entertaining, right? But this day was just not one of them. From the roads and weather to how malls ate the distance in terrain, there isn't a thing I can remember to complain about. Even the electric gremlins that plagued me for the first 3 days seem to have taken a day off. The worst of it was some construction through the mountains, but with views like these, even that didn't bother me. Okay, one thing to complain about, my camera skills. It's hard to see here, but this is what I mean. I just turned that camera on, when I thought I was turning it off. Typically, when I did run the rear-facing camera, it was always alongside the chin camera so I could properly cut between feeds. That's the main reason we got so much of my ugly mug during those road rambling bits, but shortly after that, I was able to correct the issue. Basically, just as I entered the Rocky Mountain National Park. Are you sick of waiting weeks between episodes and just want to watch a complete series for once? I don't blame you. Sometimes these episodes take me much longer than I think. Well, I've got you covered. Check out the group trip I took in 2019. The full 4-part series can be found in the description below. Updates and additional content can also be found on Instagram and Facebook, so be sure to check out that grossly long list of links in the description. I've been asked a few times recently about GPX route files and the like for these trips. I'm really thankful that people asked because it didn't occur to me until now to post those for you to look at. So I'm including a link to the route files in the description in a few different formats. Although this is the pre-planned route and things did change on the fly during the trip, I've gone back and done as much correcting as I could, so the file is generally the route I took. I'll also break the routes out for each day. So if you see a route or a road that you'd want to check out in one of these videos, you'll be able to find your way. I strongly suggest checking out Curviger, the app. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. But as this isn't a sponsored video or anything, I'll just leave that as a suggestion for now. The distance I covered today was nothing like the first 3 days, clocking in at about 850 kilometers and a total of maybe 11 hours on the road. It's honestly amazing how much footage I had for this day alone. Every corner you go around is breathtaking, so you're constantly turning the camera back on even if you just shut them off moments before. If I ran this footage without editing it, there'd be a total of about 9 hours of footage. It's pretty impressive. And also frustrating in the editing room. I wouldn't dream of suggesting that someone could get bored of the views in Colorado. But another beautiful aspect of this part of the country is the variety. The moment you think to yourself, I'm getting used to seeing this view, you slide around a corner or crest a peak and suddenly you're looking at all new country. And as an added bonus to myself, Malls and I had loads of dirt road time today, something that I genuinely enjoy. By the end of the day, Malls and I appeared to have had a new paint job. As the day progressed, so did my plans. Enjoying Colorado as much as I was, I certainly wasn't in a rush to get out of it. After a midday stop and chat with my dad about the weather in Arizona, I decided to change course a bit and head into central Colorado and put off the push to Arizona until the next day. I didn't know exactly where I would stop yet, but I figured I could ride until early evening before making a final decision. And what a ride it was. When the sun did finally decide to call it a day, Malls and I rolled into Gunnison, Colorado for the night. A good night's sleep was in order so we could be fit and ready for another glorious day of riding the rest of Colorado and into Arizona. If you do like the content on this channel, be sure to like and subscribe. YouTube's wonderful analytics shows that less than 20% of you viewing are actually subscribed, so be sure to smash that bell icon below so you get notified. A special thanks to all the cagers that played nicely, to my amazing mother for only freaking out a tiny bit when I let slip my plans for these big ridiculous trips, and to Purple Planet for all the great music clips. And as always, ride safe and ride fun, and I will see you on the next video.